Alrighty, so we are starting Unit 1, which is not a review unit. This is actually new material. So excited! We're learning new calculus, BC stuff. Woohoo! All right, so what we're going to learn to do, Chapter 7 is techniques of integration. So we're going to learn some new ways of integrating, all right? So this first one is called, we're going to integrate by parts. I can evaluate an integral using the rule for integration by parts. All right, so pieces and parts. So what do we know how to integrate? We know how to reverse power rule and the chain rule. And we reverse the chain rule by doing a U substitution. So we know how to reverse power rule. So we know how to do 2x to the raise of power and then divide by the new power to get x squared. And over here, we know how to reverse this by doing a U substitution, letting u be x squared plus 1 and then doing the du and doing the trade out. So we know how to do those, okay? Reverse power rule and how to reverse chain rule. But what about reversing product rule? All right, remember product rule is first d second plus second d first. So if you have y equals first function times a second function, right? So when you take its derivative, you do first function times derivative of the second plus the second function times the derivative of the first. Product rule. Do we know how to reverse the product rule? We don't yet, but we will after today. All right. So, oh golly, don't let that scare you. No. I'm just showing you where this rule comes from. All right. You know me, I always have to show you where things come from. I just don't give you a rule and say, woohoo, there you go. Okay, so what we want to do, we know that the derivative of a product is first times the derivative of the second plus the second function times the derivative of the first. All right, so we know this is the derivative of a product. This is product rule. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to reverse that process. So now we integrate both sides. All right, so now we've got an integral that we've put on both sides of this problem because we want to reverse this process. Okay, so now we know when you take the derivative of an integral, these cancel and we're just left with f times g. Okay, so all this canceled and just left us with f times g. Then over here, we still have all this, okay? Now, all they did in this next step was they moved this over here and they moved this over here. So they didn't do any math. They just switched sides, okay? They moved this integral stuff over to this side and moved fg onto this side, all right? Then all they did was they broke this up into two pieces. So instead of having the integral of this plus this, they broke it up into the integral of that piece plus the integral of this piece equals this, all right? Then notice this is the product rule right here, or this is the chain rule was what we're going to have, all right? So then we solve for this piece right here. So we get f times g minus the integral of gx f prime of x dx. So this is how you reverse product rule, all right? All right, so we started out with the product rule, and now we've got this nice little formula that shows us how to reverse it. So what you're going to get is you're going to get a problem that looks like this, all right? You're going to get a problem that says some function times another function dx. One of them is a function, the other one is a derivative, all right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to decide which one is going to be our function, which one's going to be our derivative, and then we're going to put it into this rule on this side. We're going to do the function times the antiderivative of g minus the integral of g times the derivative of f. All right, it's not as difficult as it looks. Don't stress out yet. All right, so this is called integration by parts is what this is called. Integration by parts. All right, so the process of integration by parts, it reverses the product rule. And this is that little formula that I just developed for you, just showed you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. we are going to choose, and you're going to use the letters U and V, all right? So we are going to choose U to be the function f of x, and then we're going to choose this stuff right here, the g prime of x dx, that's going to be a dv. So g prime of x dx. So you're going to, when you're going to be getting a problem, just back up a minute, you're going to get a problem that looks like this. You're going to be asked to integrate something that's a product here, okay? You pick which piece you want to be your u, and the other piece paired up with the dx, you pick to be your dv, okay? So then, once you've decided which piece is your u and which part of the problem is your dv, you're going to take the derivative of the u part. So you're going to do the derivative of u is du, the derivative of f is f prime, and then tack on the dx. Over here, you're going to integrate. So you're going to differentiate on this side, and you're going to integrate on this side. So we've got dv, we're going to integrate. The antiderivative of dv is v, okay? And the antiderivative of g prime dx is g of x. So you're going to differentiate the u side, and you're going to integrate, work backwards, the dv side. So now you've got these four little things here, all right? And this is how you set up, I'm going to erase that extra stuff I just drew. All right, you are going to set up your answer, because now you said this was u and this stuff here was v, so we're integrating u times the dv, sorry. You're integrating the u times the dv, so your answer is u times v minus the integral of v du, okay? So it becomes this times this, u times v, minus the integral of this times this. So it really makes a z. Your integral of these two things equals this part times this part minus the integral of these two things. And this is called, this is the strange part, this is called ultraviolet voodoo. So this is called ultraviolet voodoo. That's what it's called. All right, ultraviolet voodoo. So it's UV minus the integral of V du. So it's ultraviolet voodoo. So once you get these four statements up here, your answer is U times V minus the integral of V times the du. So it's just a strategy. It's just a step by step. You just have to make sure you do each step and have it laid out like this for yourself, and just plug the pieces into this formula and work it out. It's not as bad as it sounds, all right? You'll get a nice rhythm. You'll get a nice pattern going on. You will be fine, all right? So that's the end of the content video for ultraviolet voodoo. So if you watch the next video, I'll show you some specific examples on how to work them out. All right?